All right. So today is the 24th of March, 2025, and we want to quickly run through the analysis for the week, what we anticipate will happen in the course of this week, Monday down to Friday, 24th to 28th. So we'll be looking at the weekly market outlook. I will start with the fundamentals, what we anticipate will happen fundamentally, then we'll switch over to the technicals. Now, for the fundamentals, we'll just be looking at the key events that will take place in the course of the week. Now, today, Monday, generally, Monday is always very dry because we don't have fundamental activity, but today is a lot different because there's a lot of fundamental events lined up today, Monday, March 24th. We have the Euro French flash manufacturing PMI, French flash services PMI. That's from 9:15. In fact, from 9:15 to 10 a.m., you have a lot of Euro events. Then from 10:30, we have the one from the United Kingdom. That is GBP flash manufacturing PMI and GBP flash services PMI. Then 2:45, the flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI from the United States. And later tonight by 7 p.m., the Bank of England Governor Bailey will give a speech. So we need to be very, very cautious with trading the euro, the pound, at least this morning session. In the afternoon, 2:45, that's when we're having news on the dollar. That may not really be much of an issue. But this morning session, we need to take a lot of caution trading the euro and the pound. And in the tomorrow, Tuesday, we don't have any high impact event tomorrow. But the events that could move the market could be the new home sales. The new home sales by 3 p.m., which will happen simultaneously with consumer confidence and Richmond Manufacturing Index. 3 p.m. tomorrow, we should expect quite some volatility on the dollar. And on Wednesday, tradable event on Wednesday, we have the CPI from Australia, that's Consumer Price Index, and it will take place in the middle of the night here in Nigeria. That's 1:30 a.m. in the night. You can actually sleep early and wake up early so that you can trade it. It's important if you want to make money. Sometimes you need to make sacrifices. But at the same time, if you miss it, there will always, like I always say, but there will always be another trade some other time. So peradventure you miss the Australian CPI by 1:30 a.m. by 8 a.m. on Wednesday, 8 a.m. that will be CPI from the United Kingdom. So you can either trade both AUD CPI and GBP CPI, or you trade the GBP CPI alone, whichever one works for you. But I believe you should not, even if you miss the AUD CPI by 1:30 a.m., don't miss the GBP CPI by 8 a.m. Don't miss the opportunity to trade and make money. And I think that's the key events those are the two key events for Wednesday. And for Thursday, the major tradable event on Thursday will come by 1:30 p.m. and all US dollar based news. So they are all US dollar based events, and we have final GBP quarterly, unemployment claims, final GDP price index. Those three events are happening simultaneously, and that is expected to bring some volatility on the dollar on Thursday. And on Friday, the key events to look out for on Friday, we have retail sales from the United Kingdom, which will take place by 8 a.m. in the morning. And later in the afternoon, we have a combination of the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar, and the United States dollar news. That's GDP, that's gross domestic product, and core PCE price index. Now, the instrument that will react more to this will be the USD CAD. So those are the major events for Friday: the GDP retail sales, CAD GDP, and the US core PCE price index. All right, so that's all the major events we are looking at today. Today being Monday again, if you're just joining us, we're going to take a lot of caution trading the euro and the pound because a lot of volatility is expected across these pairs because of all the news listed for this morning. Now, I'll go to the chart now and show you my technical projections for this week. Now, for this week, there is a lot of weakness on the New Zealand a lot of weakness on the New Zealand. And I have three setups we can put attention on in the course of this week: the New Zealand USD, the New Zealand CAD, the New Zealand JPY. All three are very, very weak. And I'll show you my technical view of these three instruments. I'll start with the New Zealand USD, which you are seeing on the screen now. Now, for the New Zealand USD, on the daily time frame, the candle for last week closed as a rejection candle. All right. So here's the candle for last week, closing as a rejection candle at a support turned resistance level here. So technically, we're looking for an opportunity to sell the New Zealand USD for this week. With this setup here, purely we are bearish on the New Zealand USD for this week. So we can flip over to the 4-hour time frame. And on the 4-hour time frame, we can draw a trend line here and draw a second one at the back. And that gives us, and you can see that price has actually clearly broken out, though it's on the same price level as the previous kind of support. What I would advise on this is once the new candle breaks out below this level, you can still trigger itself on the New Zealand USD. So we anticipate further bearish breakout on this instrument in the course of this week. RSI is clearly below 50 is clearly below 0. So it's already in the bearish zone. So we're bearish on New Zealand USD for this week. And the next one, like I said, is the New Zealand CAD, which is equally bearish. In fact, this one has triggered already. I don't know if it's part of the instrument I showed us last week. I can't remember. But I'll do the analysis again. For the New Zealand CAD, it's very similar to what we saw on the New Zealand USD. And you can see here we have the last week candle closing as a rejection candle at a resistance. Okay, this one is a direct resistance level, not support on resistance. This is a resistance level. If it's not so clear, we can take it again down to the daily time frame to confirm that resistance. And you can see on the daily, it's confirmed. Sometimes on some of the setup may not be clear on the time frame, so you go to the next one, either higher or lower, to get proper clarity. So New Zealand CAD is on a bearish direction, and if you go to the 4-hour time frame, we can draw a trend line here and a second one right here. So we're anticipating a continued bearish movement this instrument. So we're bearish on the New Zealand CAD. I'll drop a signal on this one. Okay, I'll come back to it. New Zealand JPY, like I said, across all these New Zealand shares. So whichever one you are able to pick out of the three, it's not mandatory you trade all. You may end up missing some of them because of your schedule. For New Zealand JPY, on the weekly time frame, we have a descending trend line. Price touching the trend line the first time, second time, and the third time last week, and closing as a rejection candle over there. And simultaneously, we have a support turned resistance. So technically, we are to expect a further bearish breakout on the New Zealand JPY. So if we flip down to the 4-hour time frame, we're anticipating a breakout in the course of this week to trigger a bearish movement on the New Zealand JPY. So we can see 3 New Zealand pairs. It's not a coincidence that all of them are looking bearish. New Zealand USD, New Zealand CAD, and New Zealand JPY. So that means there's a lot of weakness on the New Zealand pair. That's why we're having this kind of scenario across board for these 3. So I'm bearish on all 3: New Zealand USD, New Zealand CAD, New Zealand JPY. Now this week seems to be a bearish week for majority of the JPY pairs, and I will advise to trade them all with caution. Because the other setup I'm dropping now, they are still for the JPY. For example, I'm dropping a setup now. I'm showing us that I set up now for the Euro JPY, and still bearish also. You can see Euro JPY price also hit a resistance and closed as a rejection candle last Friday. So technically, we're looking for an opportunity for a bearish movement for the Euro JPY. So we can take it down to the 4-hour and anticipate the bearish breakout. We have a rising wedge. Now this is beginning to look like a head and shoulder. If it works all well, then that means we might anticipate our breakout in that area. But then while we wait for that setup, we can as well also have our trend line right here and anticipate the reversal from this point to trigger the bearish direction. So we're equally bearish on the Euro JPY. AED JPY is the same. Like I said, virtually all the JPY pairs are looking bearish. But the last one I'll show us is the GBP JPY, which is equally looking on the bearish side, just like the other JPY pairs. This is now for the GBP JPY, we have more confluence on this one. We have the descending trend line up there. The price touched the trend line first time, second time, and the last week candle touched it briefly before the week ended. Just a second. All right. So technically, we're looking for the bearish movement of this instrument based on just what I showed us. And another confirmation to that is the fact that we equally have a resistance. Okay, so that gives us further confirmation of the possibility of a bearish movement of the GBP JPY. So I can just conclude it or complete it by adding my trend line this way and the other one the other way. All right, so we have a rising wedge. So technically, I'm waiting for a breakout. This is still also giving us that view like a head and shoulder. So either way you want to look at it, I'm expecting a bearish breakout on the GBP JPY the course of this week. Now, don't forget that the GBP news is today. If the news comes out in that direction, definitely maybe the bearish. All right, so I've analyzed about 5 instruments for us today that we can take advantage of this week. I mentioned the New Zealand USD, the New Zealand CAD, the JPY, the JPY, the JPY. All of them are in the bearish direction, and also all of them are swing setup. None of this setup is intraday. The course of the day or the week, you see an intraday setup, definitely let you know about it. All right, so that will be all from me this morning. I said I was going to drop a signal on New Zealand card. I'll do that just right now. My concern is that this thing has started moving earlier. I don't want a situation if you look backwards. Let me see. Okay, I think I'll do need to the fresh one that is yet to get to that trigger. All right, let me look at the New Zealand JPY. This actually forming the head and shoulder that should trigger price downward. So I'll give a pending order for this one. I'll look at that point for entry and target this next level. All right. So for the others, as the trigger, we'll let you know. And watch out for the analysis also in the group. I plan to drop at least some of them. So we're going to be making our entry at New Zealand BPY sell stop at 85.064. Take profit at 84.166. That's stop loss. Stop loss at 86.218. Trade with caution. Now, when we use the word trade with caution, what we're saying is that trade with your risk management in place, always put a stop loss. And secondly, trade with a recommended lot size for your account. Now, I don't know the account you're trading, but if you have any account less than $200 or even from $50 and below, don't trade one at 0.01. That's just a basic thing. If you have like $1,000, it is 0.02%. All right, so that's it. I'll drop it now. I'll drop it in other groups also. All right, so that's it on New Zealand JPY. I'll attend to a few questions as we begin to round up this analysis section of this. Just a second. All right, so someone is asking me to check, Debbie is asking to check BTC, Lasisi GBP card, APAN GBP AUT, and Equa Ambassador Euro. All right, I'll check every one of them. Just a second, please. All right, so I'm fully back. So I'll start with the first one here, and that's GBP AUD. Okay, so let's check GBP AUD followed by the GBP CAD. All right, so this is GBP AUD on the weekly time frame. I think this is one of the instruments I analyzed last week. We had a rising wedge pattern forming, and price, touched the trend line, the touch time up here, and I think we have a slight touch here for a resistance also. So technically, we're looking at a bearish movement. Now, sometimes when we have a swing setup like that, in some instances, it may not really trigger the initial week we anticipated it to trigger. It could happen. Nothing is really cast in stone. And last week, there was nothing really wrong with the analysis. Market conditions just didn't go that way because we had this rejection candle at the confluence point between the trend line for the rising wedge and the resistance on the weekly time frame. So all was kind of perfect, but then the market still went bullish. I'm still hopeful we'll have a bearish movement possibly in the course of this week. So in reality, the trade did not get to a point of trigger. So if you're already on it, that means you might actually have been a bit too early. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So, but then what I'm seeing is there's still a possibility of a reversal, though I can't call any specific pattern name now because there are times when these things are not just clear and you have to just, just watch carefully. But then I'm seeing something here. We have a rejection there and another one here. If this will hold, then we may start seeing decline in the course of this week. It's not in a way, it wants to look like a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder. But the concern is that this second shoulder seems to be like the same height with the head. So like that, I said, we can't call it a specific name. And on the other hand, if this works out, it may look a lot like a double top. But then for a double top, we should have it like a complete letter M. But all I know is that currently price is trading around. Price is back to that confluence point where the trend line from the rising wedge at the resistance met earlier. So if this holds and couple with the fact that there is going to be GDP news today, if all this works out just in line with what the market is saying, if we see a decline, the news coming out bad for the pound, or even on Wednesday when we have the CPI from the United Kingdom and later in the week the GDP, if all this comes out bad for the pound, then that may trigger that bearish movement on this. So I still maintain my bearish outlook. Sorry, on the GDP AUD. I still maintain my bearish outlook. And the same thing goes for the GDP CAD. I'm still holding on to my outlook on the GDP CAD. I'm not clearly telling us that I'm still anticipating a bearish movement. So from my own analysis, it's a swing setup which was yet to trigger, but I think I heard someone saying that maybe a signal was dropped about it possibly last Friday. Now, for this one here, I remember telling us that my view is a head and shoulder in formation, and the price seems to have come back to just a second. Price seems to have come down to that region. I'm trying to confirm if there's a resistance around that. Okay, no resistance. So let me settle this line. Okay, so I still maintain my bearish outlook. Why? Because we have a perfect looking rising wedge and we have a rejection candle the previous week. Last week ended as a bearish candle. That tells you now from that rejection candle in the previous week, it means the sellers were pushing the price down. For us to have a red candle last week, it also shows you that the bearish pressure is getting stronger. So I still hold the view that possibly this week we should still see a reversal on this GBP CAD. For those asking, if you are already on the sell, well, you may hold it. Except if for those who maybe took a signal on it, if it's close to your stop loss, well, I can't do much about that because my own setup is actually swing. I'm not looking at it on the intraday level at all. These are more swing setup, but the direction still remains bearish outlook. So I've answered the GBP AUD and GBP CAD. So we'll look at Euro USD and BTC. Euro USD. All right. Euro USD. I think I want to look at the dollar index first, get a clearer picture of what might be happening to the Euro USD. Okay, so this is the dollar index. All right, so price hit the previous resistance turned support, and you might still see some drop for a bull. That's if we're going to have a bull anyway. So presently, I'm looking for more of a drop on the dollar before any other bullish move. So that's my outlook. It's trying to form an inverse head and shoulder, all things being equal. So there may be a slight drop before we have the bullish breakout. All right. So with that, we can come now and check the Euro USD. So, and that's what is happening here now. It's clearer now. Now we have a resistance here, and that's confirmed on the second touch there. And a I perceive price may go up before we see a bearish breakout, and that's if price breaks out below the neckline or the support zone that is below there. So just anticipate some slight bullish movement on Euro USD, but then it's not something to stay in too long if you're taking a bullish trade. Yeah, this is right on the daily time frame, so just trade it with a lot of caution. But I still anticipate price may eventually break out to the downside. This might just be a slight retracement or we have for that a bearish breakout. Except if price, you can only look for buying opportunity in Euro USD if price breaks out above this resistance line. Anything outside that, just rather look more for an opportunity to sell at the reversal downwards. So that's I feel more of a bearish outlook on it. And for BTC USD, price seems to be climbing up again after hitting a support level at around 82,000. Yeah, around $82,000 per BTC. That's a support level. Price seems to be climbing up gradually. You can see in the last couple of weeks, we had, after that rejection candle, we've seen some slight bullish movement. Yeah, right. The bullish, okay, that's on the weekly. Let's go down to the daily and the 4 hour. So you can see right there on the daily, the see price is climbing back up. On the 4 hour time frame, you can see some considerable bullish movement, and price seems to have broken this trend line up. So it's still within a minor resistance zone presently. All right, so this is 4 hour. Now this is what will happen here. If price breaks above this resistance zone I just drew now, then we will have a further bullish movement. Otherwise, if that zone is respected and price is unable to break, below it, price might return, at least close to this previous support level. So it's in between buying and selling. BTC is currently in between buying and selling. The breakout above this box will signify and it's on buy to an extent. And if price is unable to break out above there, it will drop. Why would it drop? Because this may end up forming a double top, which might trigger the sell. So you have to wait patiently and see what will happen next. Again, the breakout above is a buy, and the breakout below will be an opportunity. And finally, DJ30. All right, so this is DJ30 on the weekly time frame. All right, so price formed a double top pattern. We have a rising wedge and a double top, which led to price breaking out below the neckline region. And that's telling us of the possibility of a long-term bearish movement. And this is very possible because in recent times, the US economy has been going through a lot, especially the stocks. Stocks have been very, very bearish. I mean, the last couple of weeks. Now, but then the long term might be a bearish movement, like I said. But in the short term, price, which is what is happening currently, price hit that support zone and unable to break it yet. So it's possible price might retrace back to this uh, trend line before dropping. So I would say that DJ30 might be in it could be a retracement, but there could be some slight bullish movement. This is the daily time frame. Let's see the 4 hour. But the truth is that there's no direct clarity for an entry for now. So, okay, something here. Okay, so there's a previous support and a resistance, and price is trading around that resistance. Okay, so this is what I would say. So I would advise you trade with a lot of caution. If price breaks out above this resistance, wait for a retest before you continue buying after price breaks the previous high. That's my outlook for DJ30. If it breaks above again, wait for a retest and a final breakout when we look at buying the DJ30. So I would have bullish outlook on the DJ30. And if you want to set a take profit level, I will advise you use this resistance zone here around this region. That will be safe for a take profit. I'll encourage you to watch this video again so that you can get this. So let's just wait and see how this evolves. Again, the breakout will be test and the breakout above the previous high on the DJ30. All right, so that's going to be all for my end this morning. I've attended to all the requests. Don't forget, if you are new to PU Prime, you don't have an account, go ahead and go to our website, puprime.com, and open the live trading account. If you have an account with us presently and your account is not funded, you're missing a lot. Make sure your account is funded. And if you want to get more signals, you are free. Get that from our funded client group. From the word funded, that means for those who have funds in their trading account. And you can actually top up the trading account, to get more benefit from us. All right. And don't forget, tomorrow we're having physical training both at the Abuja and the Lagos offices. So if you live around Abuja and its environment or Lagos and its environment, make yourself available for training at these two locations tomorrow. Abuja is 10:30 a.m. Lagos is 11 a.m. The address of the Abuja office is 5082 Street, Jones and Eja. All right, do have a great day and a great week. Bye bye.